Okay, you're good now. You can laugh. All right, hang on. So we're back. It's John.
Hey, it's Paul.
It's Eric.
All right, and it's What If Geeks. We don't know when you're going to listen to this, but we're right in the middle of a conversation that we're just going to pick up on. So Eric's talking about running, and Paul's talking about running, and I'm talking about not running at all. But this actually came up. We'll rewind to when we hung out with the kids during the ladies' night. The ladies went out, and we hung out at the pool.
Yeah.
And you mentioned doing the Savage Race.
Mm-hmm.
And doing the Star Wars 5K or something like that.
I did the Wine and Dine half marathon in 2017. Yeah.
I've
not done anything since.
Then you said we should go do the Savage Race.
Yeah, we totally should.
And I was like, have you been looking at me when you talk to me for the last year and a half? And then Eric just said, I'm going to get you to come around with me one day. Well, okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to give up all my plans here, but I've been trying to sneak around to John's house. Hey, we're going on a walk, family walk. You want to come with me? So last time we were
by
able to
I've
drag
been
him
trying,
out.
he means once.
Actually, you may not know this, but I run by your house a couple times. Just to see if you'll be listening. If you'll be watching, be out there, something. Hey, John, come on, I'll walk. I'm happy to walk.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, I am not a runner at all. I've never been. I hated it. I ran for 20 years in the Navy. And, I don't run. I will try. Mostly because, Noah's hitting the age where he wants to work out, do whatever. And I know he's got to get his cardio up. But, because he's a bigger guy, and if he can get himself quicker, he'll be really lethal. So, I'll get out there with him. So, yeah, I'll get out there with you guys at some point. But I'm not a runner. I hate running. In fact, my ongoing joke is, if you ever see me running, you need to be running with me because there's some scary shit behind me. So, that's my whole bit. Like, there's a series of shit that went wrong back here in order to get my fat ass going. All right, we can try the Savage Race. We'll see. When they talk about the Couch to 5K, Heather's talked about trying to do the Couch to 5K as a family, and I'm like, I got the couch part now. In fact, I can pick up the phone and I can look at the app. Yeah, that's about where I start.
Yeah. Please don't anyone be under the wrong idea that I somehow dominated at the Savage Race. Like, I survived it. I finished it. I have a T-shirt. I'm embarrassed to wear the T-shirt because I feel like it's poor advertising for them. And someone walks around like, that thing must be the easiest race in the world if that guy did it. But I literally fell off every obstacle that I tried. Everyone. Like, I stuck a couple, like, I climbed the walls and did the thing, but, like, if it was like a monkey bars or series of things, I fell. Right. I fell off almost all.
I'll give it a shot. What the hell? Why not? We'll figure something out. We'll come up with a schedule. I'm going to be slow to start, I can tell you that right now. Because I haven't run anywhere. And then I spent the last almost year sitting on my ass in a cubicle. That's when I was like, no, I got to get up and move because I can't do this. My body hurts. So, yeah, there are some changes coming around, but we'll see. When the Geeks decide to do the obstacle course, we'll tell you. That's going on YouTube.
What if Geeks take on the obstacle course?
That's definitely, absolutely, 100% getting GoPro done. Oh, my God. I was like, all right, the thing with the running. One, I got bad knees and a bad back. Two, everybody I ever know, even my wife, she was a fanatic, like, she was constantly running all the time. And she wants to get back into it. But everybody that I would ever see, have you ever seen a runner at the end of the thing? Like, you're like, how do you feel? And they're like, alive. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Get in a car. We invented cars.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
At the end of the half, I went home, had pancakes, and fell asleep for like 3 hours.
I'm ready for the pancake part.
Yeah.
All right. We'll work on it. We'll come up with a plan. But yeah, we'll work on it. I gotta stay in shape for my kids, so we'll work on it. Well, I have to be in shape other than around. So let's see what happens. We'll keep you guys posted on how that's going. That could be a YouTube bit itself.
There we go.
Oh my God! All right, so today, because we're going to do our second show of the day, the one that I'm more prepared for. This is our evergreen one, where we don't know when you're going to get this one, but it's currently May 28th, and we are going to talk about video game movies. and why they're more of a clusterfuck than me running. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, so outside of that, just whatever's going on May 28th, so that way you guys know where our heads are at. Anybody got anything else going on outside of what we were just talking about on the other show?
No.
Quiet crickets.
I think just the intro to this is Eric. I think the first time when you joined us for the first time, you had the you made the suggestion about, has there ever been a book to movie transition where the movie is better than the book? And that started a conversation around, well, has there been a video game to
TV
movie or
whatever,
TV show to movie that has ever been? And so we started to have this. We started to make this last week when you were out, and then we finished talking about series finales and got to this, and we had gone on long enough, and then since you had brought it up, we wanted to wait.
Yeah, we were just like, this would be a much better conversation with you here.
Yeah.
Because, well, one, it was your idea. It seemed kind of shitty to kind of like run away with it. But two, it was just like, both of us were like, as soon as we started thinking about it and writing it down, we both looked at each other and were like, this would be so much more fun, all three of us together. Kind of. So, all right.
So I think that the extra time has given me some time to think about a couple things, which I was holding off before we started this because I didn't want to say them, right? I wanted to wait for it. But I had a couple thoughts while I was going through this. So I came in with the expectation that every video game to movie ever. Is that right? Video game to movie? Yeah, whatever. Video game to movie. Anyway, everyone ever has basically been shitty, right?
Yeah.
But then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, a couple things. There are actually a couple good ones that I liked. I realized after running through lists, there's actually a couple I like. Couple, okay?
I've got a couple.
Mm-hmm. But on top of that, I was thinking about, well, what the hell is that? And is it really like producer, director, writer's fault, or is it because of what a video game is, right? You're playing out a storyline, but sort of in your own way. And even some of these that I'm going to talk about anyway are old, and there really isn't a storyline in the game. But somebody tried to make one for a movie. But that wasn't what the game was about anyway.
Right.
It was about playing something and beating a challenge and trying to get this or that or collect the 5 stars or whatever, right? And you can't get that out of a movie. So that may be half the problem with video games.
It's hard to incorporate some of that stuff into it. Yeah, but on the flip side of that too, and side note, since we're talking about older movies and stuff like that, think back to some video games that were made that maybe you haven't seen or even heard them talk about making a movie out of that you'd like to see. Kind of think of that. Maybe at the end we can throw some of those in there. Because I got a couple of them running around in my head. Because I always have random thoughts running around in my head. But I think one of the problems that shouldn't be with video game movies is much like if you're making a decent, even a halfway decent book into a movie, you have a groundwork already there. And I guess if you make it just close enough to the groundwork or not just close enough, it's got to be pretty close to the foundation in order to make the fan base happy. But then you can kind of take a few tangents here and there to entice other fans. If you do it that route, there's a easy way to do what I'm talking about, where you'll appease most people and make a hit, and still make you'll make a good movie out of it, but they just can't seem to, like, it's cursed. Like my garage and Nats.
I think one of the problems may be that you're trying to do, if you're making a video game movie, it's almost by definition a cash grab, right? So you're trying to do this relatively quickly before the video game kind of burns itself out. Yeah. So you're probably not going to one of the major studios. You're going to one of the lesser studios who's just going to, they don't need to make $300 million on it. They just need to make some money off of their investment, right? So if they doubled it, if it costs $30 million to make and it makes 75, then they're super happy. Whereas one of the big companies wouldn't be happy with that. So you will then get sort of inferior writers and inferior producers and inferior production designers. And you're going to do cheap CGI, and you're going to do you're doing the whole thing on the cheap.
Then you get the fucking Koopa Trooper from the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
Correct.
Yeah. So let's play a fun game if you guys can work this into what you've already written down, right? So for every game, right, I kind of thought of what did I like so much about that game? What was it that was worth it? And then you go look at the movie and say, did it have that? No. Well, and half the time it can't, which was part of my point. But there are some movies that got some little pieces of that, and I think they're actually limited to a couple genres. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that, right? We'll get to that when we get to the game or the movie.
Kind of like Sonic collecting rings. How
Yeah.
that? Yeah. Well,
We're about to find out. In the Sonic movie.
All right, so can I look at your list real quick? Is this your number one? Is that what you're going to start
No,
with?
I'm just kind of going to bounce around randomly. But
All
here,
right.
you can look at it while we're kind of talking about this idea.
Well, so two things. One, there was a couple things I thought about that sort of were like designed around the idea of games, but they're not really made off a game. Like you could say something like Tron, right?
Sure,
So,
sure.
so I'm not going to talk about that one, but
If we get to that tangent,
Yeah.
we can talk about
So-
it. But yeah,
Which came
I
first,
was
Tron or the movie or the game?
I think
the
the movie
movie.
was first.
Yeah.
I'm almost
Did they
certain
make the video
movie
game
was
out
They
of
made
the
a
movie?
video
Yeah.
game, but
Yeah.
it was an Atari game.
Yeah, it was
too.
Atari. Yeah.
Woo. Well, there you go. What's the other translation? Because I remember Raiders of the Lost Ark for the Atari 2600.
Oh, yeah.
That was abysmal.
Or
Yeah.
E.T., the
Yeah,
Atari
yeah,
game.
yeah.
It was so bad they buried tens of thousands of those
Yeah.
damn things in the desert.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll get off on a tangent if we don't stop. But, so then, if you
This
want
whole
to,
fucking show is a tangent.
yeah, that's true. So if we can start somewhere, then I think there was one movie that was the real start of this whole concept, right? Really, truly built off a game that had been around for years, and that was the Super Mario Brothers movie. You guys see that?
Yeah.
With John Leguizamo
Yeah.
and Bob Hoskins.
Yeah.
Yep, and Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper
right?
is Cooper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got him in
Right.
here. Yeah, I got all the names
So,
written
so
down
you do
here.
have eyes.
It was 1993.
So I wanted to start here for a reason, though, right? So that game didn't really have a story. I mean, it had a story, but not in the way that you'd have a story in a book or you'd read it in a movie. It was very different, right?
Well, even if you think about Super Mario Brothers in and of itself, the video game that came out on the Nintendo has such a convoluted story when you look back to Donkey Kong when he was Jumpman,
Yep.
and then you had Mario Brothers where they're in a sewer squirting it,
Jumping on turtles.
jumping on, and random shit, and then they come out with Super Mario Brothers. That's when it jumped into high gear, and that's where they came up with a movie. And
So they picked good actors, I think, to do the job. John Leguizamo was an interesting Luigi for me, but
John Leguizamo was interesting in almost everything.
well, yeah, that's probably true. And I like Dennis Hopper as the Koopa. I like him anyway as a bad guy, but
Really?
oh yeah,
Okay.
that would be another topic for another day, right?
Yeah.
But so they had to make a storyline for that game, right?
Mhm.
And what they chose to do was like wild ridiculousness, right? So the Koopa, well, I don't know, the lizard people, right, existed when the dinosaurs existed. A meteor came down and crashed, and somehow they survived. And 65 million years later, they're living in the sewer of Manhattan. But it's not really the sewer of Manhattan; it's Dino-Hattan, right? That was
Yeah.
the thing, right? They have this whole
Dino-Hattan.
underground world or something, and they're trying to capture, what was it, like there was a meteor stone in her necklace or something.
Yeah, something weird shit.
The whole thing was just like the
The
storyline.
fact that you
was
remembered that much,
so-
please tell me that was in your research. Because if you remembered that much, I fear for your children.
So I remember many pieces of that movie. I did look it up. I looked up the plot line and stuff too, but I do remember a lot of that ridiculousness that was that movie. But at the same time, there was something a little bit nostalgic about it. You had your characters, right? Nobody had ever really done that idea before, so it was kind of cool. But the storyline was really, looking back at it now, like what the hell?
Yeah.
And the special effects stuff, the giant Goomba, everything about it was really cool for the time, because that was
Gigantic dude with a
early
teeny tiny
90s.
turtle head. That was really
Yeah.
weird. And out of the collar, not out of his ass.
Yeah.
Different turtle head. That was, it was 1993, so it was like the year I graduated high school. So there you go, people. In case the whole, dad's talking geek stuff wasn't enough of a clue, I'm old. I graduated high school, and that was my graduation gift. was Bob Hoskins and Mario. Jeez. I don't know. You know what? I remember wanting it to be good, and I remember being old enough to be like, "Ew, this is really not that great." And I think the only thing, and you know what? Because I was about to say the only thing worse, but I really think it's on par with itself, because the other one was only an intro to a cartoon, so you at least had a cartoon to save it. was the Saturday morning Super Mario cartoon, and it was Captain Lou Albano as Mario. And
it's on like Hulu or one of those things now. It's maybe on Netflix or something.
Yeah.
And Coleman, my son, watches it a lot.
And those live action
spots so
are bad.
So bad.
And I think maybe the movie is just a little bit better than those, but not by much. Yeah. And like if that's the measuring stick, you're already fucked, you know. But yeah, that's like the first one that I remember. Yeah, that's the first one I remember too.
I think it was the first true one of that genre where they took
like
actual
go back to like
video
Tron,
game.
where it was like
again, those were based on. There was Last Starfighter, and there was stuff before that were based on the idea of a game, but it wasn't a real game.
Right. And and like you said, we can kind of go off on a tangent on another show about those. So like Last Starfighter, completely different movie.
Right.
Is that a reboot? Oh, no, that's not a reboot.
It's a remake. Yeah.
It's a reboot.
Yeah.
But a good movie, and I would like to see them remake that one. So we'll go off on those another time. Tron, Starfighter, and whatever. Super Mario, I think, was the first one, and I think that's like, they say every curse starts somewhere, right? Yeah, there you go. I don't have any other, I don't have many dates written down here.
I'll try to do this for each one just for fun because I have it here. So the Rotten Tomatoes score on this one is awful. It's 28%.
I wrote down a couple of Rotten Tomatoes.
21%. I'm sorry, 21%.
Well, it's better than Assassin's Creed.
And it boxed 21 million box office worldwide. So that's really low, but moneymaker actually for them, even that time. Not much, but a little bit.
All right. So talk about the first one you remember besides that, because that's the first one I remember watching. What about you, Paul? Was that it too, or
I don't remember seeing that in the theater. I remember it coming out, but I don't think I saw it. The first one that I remember is Mortal Kombat. Seeing is Mortal Kombat,
which to me, the movie, I liked it.
Yeah.
That soundtrack will never leave your damn head. Oh God! See, I did it already. Now it's stuck in there. But I liked it overall. Kind of working with what they had, you know.
So again, the plot was shallow in the game. There wasn't much to it. They're fighting Shang Tsung, right? And they made a movie plot out of it. Now they didn't spend the time, and they shouldn't have, to make all this bullshit backstory for everything in that movie, right? They made it about the characters. They made it about the fighting. They made it about the music and cool moves.
Yeah.
And so for me, that one works.
But that's all the video game is, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
The video game is these people are on a mysterious island and they fight.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Right.
So what do you remember from the game?
Legit,
and did the movie play on it?
Yeah.
This is legit. Just it's a contest of champions kind of thing, where each one enters because you can get a reward at the end, right? And it's the Shao Kahn, and Shang Tsung is his servant.
Yeah.
He's the one in the first game that you see, and then you hear of Shang Tsung later, or Shao Kahn later. He's the one trying to invade worlds through this contest kind of thing. It's that kind of thing, right? The guy who played Liu Kang, I don't have any in front of me, sorry. But the guy who played Liu Kang was good. Johnny Cage is kind of cool. The girl who plays Sonya Blade, she was also in Billy Madison. And now this is the first movie, not the second one, because it was a different actress in the second one. Again, dirty old man. She was cute, so I'll watch this movie all day. But it stuck to the game enough, and kind of like it's like you couldn't go in expecting a whole lot. So for that, now it had Highlander as Raiden. Yeah. Talking about whitewashing. Holy shit.
Right.
Yeah, that was actually
what was that shit you called? ASMR?
Yeah.
That's one of the few story elements they threw in there because Raiden was sort of the guide in that movie or whatever, and that's not the way he was really portrayed in the game.
He was just another thunder god. He was like a Chinese thunder god or whatever. And he was nothing like this dude in the movie, so it kind of sucked that way. But
I thought it worked. I thought that movie worked.
I thought the movie worked. The sequel
No, yeah. Before you get there, so nobody agrees with us apparently because the Rotten Tomatoes score on Mortal Kombat is 11.
What? Oh, come on.
That being said, no. Mortal Kombat's 46. I'm sorry. I'm jumping ahead. And it grossed 122 million. So that's decent, I guess.
That's
it was
pretty
like
good.
2 years after Mario Brothers.
Which is why they made 122 gets you the sequel. Right,
Yeah,
you make 122 million. They're like, we got a hit here. Let's do another one.
So I guess that works. There was one before that, if you guys remember. It was terribly shitty. It was a Street Fighter movie.
Yes,
it was right before Mortal
Jean-Claude
Kombat.
Van Damme plays Guile.
Yep, Guile, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was okay. Compare the two, both fighting games. Now you have one that sticks closer to the source material.
Yeah.
And then you have Jean-Claude Van Damme. And okay, yeah, sure. Raul Julia.
Yeah,
that was the last thing.
Julia, yeah.
That was the last thing he played. He played Bison.
Yep.
Wow. I don't even think I actually watched that entire thing all the way through. I think I've seen bits of it on the internet.
Me too.
And I think I'm a better man for it. Keep it. I'm sorry.
But they tried to do, let's take the characters and put them in some sort of situation where they have to act and pretend there's a plot instead of just this is just a fight.
Yep.
Which is what Mortal Kombat
and it didn't work at all. And then they tried harder with the Legend of Chun-Li sequel, which flopped even worse than the original.
And it was like Christian Kruick, right? So I think she's like at least half Asian. So she kind of looked like Chun-Li.
To be honest, the original didn't fully flop because the box office was 99 million. But that's
because everybody wanted it to be good.
That's good.
It was just a
This
movie.
is the one I had my chart numbers off, but this is the one that had the 11% on Rotten Tomatoes because it's truly awful.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, that sequel with the Chun-Li, Legend of Chun-Li, that's what it was worse.
That I never even saw that. But the Street Fighter, no. Now, to the fighting game aspect of it, like with the Mortal Kombat, and Street Fighter, whatever, I get what they were trying to do with the Street Fighter thing, which to give them a little bit of either flesh out the backstory or flesh out why they're doing whatever they're doing, right? If you've ever seen some of the comic books that they tried to make with Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, whatever, they do a better job of it there, but it's because it's in a written format and they have time to do that. In a movie, you've got tops 2 hours, hour and a half, 2 hours to try to tell the story. You can't do that. In like Mortal Kombat comic books, they should kind of show some of their backstory. They show like Sub-Zero with his clan, right? And like you see another ninja similar to him, Rain and whatever, and then he shows up in the video games later on too because he was made for the comic or whatever. So you see like all these characters that flesh out your main cast, right, in the comic, but you have time to do it. You don't have time to do that in a movie.
Yeah.
One of the best things I saw, side note to movies, is we talked about the Mortal Kombat online, whatever the hell it was, the internet series that they did. Like there was little snippets where it was like Michael J. White was playing Jax, and he was like a detective trying to figure out who killed his partners and shit like that. And the first thing was only like mostly him talking, sitting like you can tell it was in an interrogation room. He's sitting there talking, and he's like throwing down files and talking about this and that, whatever. And then like it cuts to the guy he's talking to, and the guy looks up and his eye glows and it's Kano. You know, so I remember being like, oh shit, this is like because you know what it is because like you see his name on the door, but if you don't know what Mortal Kombat is, you have really no idea what they're doing, and then it's cool, right? So from that, I think they made a few other ones, and it was kind of cool. Those things like you can take a TV series. They did a Mortal Kombat TV series for a little while, and it took like two obscure characters and like ran with them a lot. Really? Again, you missed the boat because you can do something like that, like a Netflix series or a TV series, and kind of dump some money into it for special effects. But you can do these fighting things that way. It's kind of hard to do in a movie. So the first Mortal Kombat, the second one, man. They got really out there with that one. So they tried to cram so much shit in there.
Yeah.
And then Street Fighter just sucks. Sucks Jean-Claude Van Damme's balls when he's split.
That was just a Van Damme. They were like, what'll make this movie? Just put Van Damme in it.
Yeah, and it became his vehicle,
Yeah.
much like Will Smith or
Yep.
Steven Seagal. All right, so how about, let's see.
Did anybody have Tomb Raider on their list?
Which one? This is three of them.
The
Two of them
the
are
first
Jolie.
one.
The first one.
Yeah.
So, again, game, right? So this game had an okay storyline, I guess. But the main reason you
The
play
only
that,
reason anybody played that game. Go ahead.
right. So you have the digital character, I suppose, which was part of the entertainment. You had an ass
Lara
90%
Croft.
of the time, right? And then the other part of it was all the challenges that they threw in, right? You would spend hours trying to jump over some blocks while you're hanging with whatever it was, you know. And so when they made a movie, they definitely picked a character that works, I think.
Yeah.
For the time and everything.
The big hype behind this entire game was a whole bunch of sweaty little nerds watching polygon boobs.
Mhm.
Honestly, you know?
Yeah.
Every time she turned sideways, because like you said, you mostly saw her ass
Yeah.
right on the screen. But she turned or flipped, whatever, you see these misshapen, whatever. But everybody, oh, okay, she's got big boobs, we're in. And then they go to make the movie. And I had put that on my list because they cast Angelina Jolie.
Yeah.
And now, I don't know when you consider her at her prime, but that was kind of right around there.
So this was 2001 that they released it anyway.
Yeah, I forget what else she was doing at that point, but you cast Angelina. I can't talk. You cast Angelina Jolie like reading me a phone book, and I'm probably going to watch it.
Right.
On the flip side of that, I can honestly say there were times where I don't know why I like her, but I do. She knows how to play sultry. She knows how to play sexy, and she does it with like no apologies. She's like, yep. Like in the movie Wanted, when she just like stands up and she's butt naked with a big ass tattoo down her back and everything, and I'm like, yep, all right. If this movie sucks, cool, but I'm gonna watch it anyway because So when you cast her, I'm gonna watch it. Side note to that one: did you guys know why she took that role?
No.
Because her ex-husband liked the game Tomb Raider and she wanted to run it for him.
Is that right?
Yep. So now I'm all in.
That's
she's
funny.
Also a snarky bitch. And if anybody knows anything about me, I'm a snarky asshole. So when I heard that, I was like, "Oh, this is fucking great." So yeah, the first one was good. It was all right.
So
it wasn't great.
For what it's worth, it grossed $274.7 million in the box office, which would not be broken again until Prince of Persia in 2010. That's a long ass
You know why
time.
I made that money?
But by a video game movie,
Yeah.
But I mean that's big, and the scores are kind of they're all over the map on this. It's got 47%.
Yeah.
The Metacritic's at 33.
I remember watching that one. I don't remember if I saw the entire sequel. I remember them making it because, of course, they're going to make a sequel to it because they made money. I don't remember hating the first one. I remember liking the first one enough to say, okay, I can watch this. I don't remember anything about the sequel.
So that was the Cradle of Life one.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was okay. The critic scores are roughly the same, a little better actually, but it didn't gross nearly as much. It wasn't all the hype.
How about you, Paul? Did you watch them?
I remember seeing the first one, and only because Angelina Jolie was in it. I don't remember seeing the second.
Well, they play to their audience too.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh,
They did play off the character. They brought the right person in. I think they got what they deserved, which was a high-grossing film for what it was.
Yeah, and then you had the new one with what the hell's her name?
Oh yeah.
The trailer looks cool as shit, and she looks like she can kick your ass.
I don't know, man. I don't have it on my list. Up here.
Yeah, and she's cute too. So I remember I only saw it in like one other thing. But then they said, yeah, she's playing the new Lara Croft. And I was like, really? Oh, okay. And then they showed the trailer, and I was like, wow, she's a badass.
Alicia Vikander.
Yeah, Alicia Vikander. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah,
It looked good. I never saw it.
It's like probably too little, too late on that one.
Yeah.
I think so, and I think that was like one of those movies where it had piqued my interest, but there was so much shit coming out at once. Because lately here, we've had this conversation before. There are so many effing movies that I forget, and I go back, or I'll be online looking at whatever, and somebody will say something about the new, the old, the remake of Tomb Raider, I'll be like, oh yeah, I never watched that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. There's so many freaking movies that I haven't seen. That was one of them. I'll probably go check it out at some point, but it looked good. I don't know. How did it do? So,
the sequel, or the new
remake,
one.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2 seconds here. It was 273. So it grossed almost the exact same amount as the original. Slightly better scores on Rotten Tomatoes, much better scores on Metacritic.
All right. So it's a good movie, I guess. Go watch it.
And then there's another one that happened right after. Sorry, I don't want to.
No, you're good.
I don't want to direct this. I do have a whole list here.
No, you're good.
No, you're good.
Well, most of the time, people hear me like slurring and lisping my way through everything I say because I got a speech impediment and I decided to do audio only. So that's great.
So after the original Tomb Raider, the next video game to movie was Resident Evil. And I was saying earlier, there's a few where I feel like they really did justice to the game. This is one of them. This is one of them for me. You don't like this? The original Resident Evil.
One.
Yeah.
All right.
So here's the thing for me. For that game, playing that game, whole big part of it is the music and the suspense and what's going to hop around the corner. You can do that in a movie, right? And they did that pretty well in the movie. Now, this wasn't the best one they did that in because one of my actual favorites is actually Silent Hill. Which comes later.
That's on my list, but I've never seen it. So.
Oh, you've never seen the movie?
Yeah. No.
Oh, it was a perfect play off the game. I really loved it.
Okay, so I want to watch it. There's actually a couple of them out there.
Oh, Silent Hill movies?
I think
so. Oh,
yeah,
there was a sequel. Yeah, there was.
See, the Resident Evil for me...
to be fair, I think that all these sequels, they've gone too far. But you think sequels are better?
No.
I think you might be tainted by a certain character, but...
No, she's cute, but no. All right, here's my problem with Resident Evil. And then we can argue this till the sun comes up. Going back to what I said earlier, if you look at the source material and you go with it, right? If you actually look at the original Resident Evil movie, while it had your virus and this and that, whatever, if you had taken that, like the local PD comes to the mansion kind of thing, like almost like a small horror movie, low budget horror movie, almost like a Night of the Living Dead kind of thing, but then you take the T-virus zombies and put them in there, right? Instead, it could have stuck closer to the game. If it would have stuck a little bit closer to the game, you would have had a little bit more of a horror element as opposed to a sci-fi element. Now, once you're in there and this is what we're doing, right? The rest of the series to me makes sense because now you're already in this world. You've taken this cut from where the game is, and then you take Mila Jovovich and then you throw in Ali Lauder later. That's the one that gets me in there. But the first movie, hey, she's hot. The first movie though, like Michelle Rodriguez was in it. I was like, hey, I like her for whatever. And again, that's another one. I can't explain why I like her because I'm pretty sure she's ready to beat my ass, and she may or may not be a lesbian. I have no idea. But there's something about that girl that's just amazingly hot. So, Michelle, if you ever hear this, you're amazing. That's all I got to say. I don't care what your preference is. You're just amazing. But something about her. There's something about certain actresses that just talk to you. There. Mila Jovovich, kind of, sort of, but I don't know. I can't explain why. But she's cute. But
you can take it or leave it personally.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those. And that's kind of me. Like, but hey, she's out there kicking ass. She did a good job with what she was given, and I enjoy the series mostly. But it kind of did a Fast and the Furious, where it kind of like it started believing its own hype and started to kind of go off the rails big time, So I would have loved to have seen them reboot the entire thing and keep it closer to the original game, that horror. I remember playing in Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2, and then I kind of played the rest, but not really. Those first two I played, and I remember playing them with like the fucking lights shut out.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
And I mean, did you ever play any of these games, Paul?
So I'm trying to think because I didn't see the movie. I didn't play the video game. I don't know what I was doing. And so I've been, while you guys have been talking about this, I'm like, when did this game come out and why did I miss it?
It was on the first PlayStation.
Yeah, I didn't have the first PlayStation. And so I had a PS2, I had a PS3. So I didn't play the game. So I remember the movie coming out, but I'm like, I don't know what this is. And I didn't see it. And I didn't see the second one or the third one, or I guess they're on the 8th one now. I haven't seen any.
All right, now one of the first things this thing did was, now it was survival horror.
Right.
And I don't think I had really ever played anything similar to it at the time. But one of the cool things it did, and I was old enough to realize it, was that because it was the PlayStation 1, it was a disc game, and they had loading screens.
Right.
On the loading screens, instead of it just saying loading, they put in a cutscene of like a door slowly opening, or whatever you were doing at that time. Remember? It would kind of be like either a door opening, so you were changing rooms or whatever. So they incorporated the cutscenes into the game.
Right.
You know, and nobody had done that before. So it was kind of cool for me. Like, I had never seen it before. I was like, oh, okay, cool. But the game had more of a creepy, scary feel. Yeah, like, you turn around the corner, and the fucker would be like coming right around the corner at you. And even though they were slow too, most of the zombies were slow, you'd be like, oh, Jesus, I got to go all the way around this damn stairwell with like 4 zombies here, and I've got like 3 fucking bullets. What the hell am I going to do here?
Right.
And so you could outrun them, which, you know, in a good zombie horror, if you're going to have slow zombies, you can outrun them.
Yeah.
If you do the zombie thing, keep cardio up, you know, which I guess we're going to be doing too.
That's right.
So we'll outrun the zombies later. So it was just like, it was kind of a realistic type of horror. And you were like, oh, shit. But then you had those jump scares.
Yeah.
Like, I remember like the second one, the liquor, right? There's this thing, this monster that, because they made monsters too in this lab, right? They didn't just make the virus. They infused the virus into things, and they made these random things. This thing was like crawling around on all 4s, and it looked like exposed muscle, and it had a really long tongue, so it was just called like the liquor, right? And you're in the police station. Remember in Raccoon City? You're in the police station, and you walk in. It's real creepy music, and it's dark and whatever. And it was me and a buddy of mine. And we screamed like 2 little 13-year-old girls because we're going through the police station, and it's in an interrogation room. And this thing jumps through the damn mirror, right in front of you. And we were just like, wow, lost our shit. That, if you give me that in a Resident Evil movie, then I'm on board again. You know, like what they did, like I said, where the tangent they went off on, I started to appreciate as a whole.
Yeah.
But with the first one, I was like, where's more of the horror? You know, I mean, it was kind of there, but not really. They should have leaned more horror than the sci-fi to me. But all right, you liked it, Eric.
Yeah, well, I just thought you're right. I think, but they did do some of the jump scare stuff. There was definitely that. You kind of had a bit of a in Resident Evil and Silent Hill, both. You had kind of a sort of a tunnel vision thing where you're just kind of looking at what's going on like in front of you and not what's happening to the left or right, and you don't hear much. And then suddenly it's like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
You know? So I think they did pretty well with that in the movie because it's easy to do in a movie. That's a classic horror element, I suppose. But
yeah,
it's the one sort of genre of video game to movie where I kind of like a lot of them, at least a little bit, because of that.
I liked a lot of them. And like I said, once you got into once I accepted what they were, and they were over the top, you know, like where she lands a biplane on top of a skyscraper, you know, whatever. I was like, what the hell? Yeah, but. And they stop her with, like, you know, Comcast cables. You know, like, you know, it's cool, whatever. You know, we're in this. But, like, when the two of them, Mila and Ali Lauder, are, like, fighting that one dude in the bathroom, you know, like, one sliding under him, the other one's jumping over. I was like, this is cool as shit. So, yeah, the movies are good.
So I'm going to have to go back and watch this movie?
Series of movies.
Yeah. It's like, how many are there? 5? 6?
6. 6 of them.
A bunch of them now.
I have no idea if there's another one ever coming out. This is one where I would love to see them reboot it with a little more of the scary horror shit.
Got it.
But outside of that, yeah, it's a good watch. It's cool.
All right, so we spent way too much time on that.
Way too much time on Resident Evil.
Next on my list of insane flops was House of the Dead. You guys ever seen
I didn't write it down, and I haven't
based off
watched
that
it,
arcade game that they had, the little shooter arcade game or whatever.
Was that the U-Ball, whatever the hell the director's name is? He did that one, or he did another one. I forget which one it was, but I'm pretty sure it's House of the Dead. But he's got a reputation.
U-Ball, yeah, that's it.
He's got a reputation of just being like 5 shades of fucked up. You know?
Right.
That's what I've heard. He's just like out there.
It did terribly. The Rotten Tomatoes is 3%, grossed $13 million. I don't even think
3%. 3%. That's not even a fucking tomato seed.
And sadly, and this will be important later, this was the first Sega game that they made into a movie.
Yes.
We'll see if we'll find a good Sega game made into a movie ever.
We're about to find out. Because that thing was so horrendous. We talked about this last week, right? Sonic was so horrendous on that first trailer that I really thought that he was a pedo. I remember pedo in a speedo.
Right.
But that was my college. That was my band name in college.
So I think,
but 2 weeks ago when you said it was so bad that everyone complained and they're gonna remake it. Remember, I said, "Oh, Paul's got it on his phone." And
you're like, "Oh, it looks good right there."
I said, "He looks great there. He's so much better than what was in the trailer."
Like that's the Macy's Thanksgiving Day balloon.
That's how bad this fucking thing was. A balloon looks better. Oh shit. So we'll see if Sonic looks if it gets any better. I've actually got a site up with like 10 upcoming video game movies that we can talk about at the end of this thing, and that's one of them. There were a couple that I didn't see, but I kind of wanted to. I know Silent Hill was one of them. The Assassin's Creed one. It had what's his face, Magneto.
So yeah,
young Magneto.
Yeah.
All right.
I watched the first movie without ever having played the game, so I'm not sure. For me,
I've never played the game either.
For me, I didn't like it. I didn't feel a connection. I didn't quite get the story.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't understand. I heard a lot of complaints, and it only had an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. It had such a shitty score that, as I wrote down the score, I left the E out of Rotten.
Not even
I was writing pretty fast. I was like, no, fuck it. You get 18% of Rotten Tomatoes for real. Let's see. The other one I didn't see. Silent Hill, Assassin's Creed, Doom.
So I tried twice to watch Doom and could not get through it.
Yeah, The Rock couldn't save this damn movie.
Golly.
I remember when that came out. I'm like, I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, and that's exactly how I went. I was like, I remember playing the game.
Loved the game.
I remember playing a lot of it.
Doom was fantastic.
Never getting all the way through it.
Wolfenstein and Doom were sort of like the classic FPSs.
And I never got all the way through either one of those, but I played the shit out of all of them. But yeah, he couldn't save that movie, and that was 90% too.
Yeah,
back to 2005.
56 million. It was okay, I guess, in that sense, but.
I
don't know what they spent. Yeah, I don't know what they spent on it either, though, because there was actually some pretty good special effects. I guess I mean, it was 15 years ago. Speaking
of The Rock,
60 million budget. So
did you guys ever see? I've never played this game and didn't see the movie, but looking at this list, it made a lot of money. Prince of Persia.
Yeah.
Jake Mysterio. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
I saw it. I watched it.
Is it good? Here's the thing. I remember Prince of Persia being kind of a lame game. And so when they made a movie of it, I'm like, I don't care to see that because the only thing I remember about that game is sort of jumping and it being sort of weak. Like I don't remember it as a fun game.
Yeah, it was kind of like that Aladdin Nintendo game where you get
jumping. Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of jumping and parkour kind of shit.
Right.
I never played the game, or if I did, I played it for literally 5 minutes. I watched it. I remember watching the Jake Gyllenhaal thing. There's your whitewashing.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, it was okay. Like, I don't remember details about it, but I remember Heather and I watched it, and we were like, yeah, it's okay. What year did it come out? You guys see it at all?
It was 2010.
Yeah, we watched it, and then, I got to check what year movies come out so I can make sure I'm talking about the right one. But
it made $336 million.
Yeah, no, like I said, it was decent enough to me I would like to see what they did with it after that. But I don't think they ever made a sequel. If they did, it really fell off my radar quick. But yeah, so it was decent enough. I mean, you can watch it. It's okay. It's a good movie, I guess. Kind of. I mean, I get what they were trying to do, but again, for much like Eric, I hadn't really played the game, so I'm like, well, for just a movie, it was okay.
Yeah.
You know, like a sci-fi-ish kind of whatever. But going back to talk about The Rock, you go from Doom in 2005, 2018, he makes Rampage.
So, for me, this game is so old. There is no storyline at all.
Right.
There's nothing to it. So I have not seen this movie, though.
I have not either.
I just imagine to myself it's the worst thing I could ever possibly see.
Yeah, I thought the same thing.
The critic scores are good, and it grossed $428 million.
Keep going.
So
Yeah.
maybe I'm wrong, but I'm so set in this idea that I don't think I'm going to watch it.
I 100% agree. I remember when it came out, I played that game a lot in arcades as a kid, and it being a lot of fun, but there's no story to it. And so when it comes out as a movie, I thought to myself, there's no way that's going to be good. I get
one of my favorite video games.
I get that it's got The Rock in it.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine that's going to be good. I'm not wasting my time.
One of my favorite video games when it was this fucking gnat. And sorry, side note, there's a gnat in here. Surprise. Outside, like, you know, when you hit the arcade, like me and my brother would hit them, and okay, we'd go play here, whatever, and then, hey, there's Rampage. Let's throw a few quarters in that, right? And we play it. Whatever you do, you think. When they announced this movie, the first thing I thought, how? And I think we talked about it. I was just like, how the fuck do you make a movie out of this? I mean, out of every video game you could possibly make a movie out of. Really? They announced The Rock. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. Jeffrey D. Morgan. Okay, whatever. Still, how the fuck are you going to make a movie out of this monster movie, beating up buildings or whatever, right? Heather and I watched it. I think we watched it on DVD. It's fucking good.
Is that right?
It's fucking good. It is. It's all right. You know when you watch the Fast and the Furious beyond the first three, right? Oh, first one. Okay. But
you know how in Fast and the Furious 7 in
yeah, but when you got this series that kind of like went off the rails just a little bit, and I was like, I don't know what the hell's going on here, but I kind of like it. They took the core material of the game, and they kind of ran away with it in a good way. Rock is a dude at a zoo with a fucking giant gorilla named George, right? He's an albino gorilla, but it's got to do with like chemicals or whatever. Like the government releases chemicals by accident, like they lose canisters. One lands at the zoo, triggers George to grow, and then there's other, there's a wolf and there's a whatever, Jeffrey D. Morgan plays a government agent, but he is literally Negan in a suit. he's just like that smarmy, smart ass, whatever. And something about this movie all comes together to be like, fuck it. You know what? Yep, I'm all in on this thing. It was really fucking funny. It was great.
I can't imagine.
I couldn't imagine going into it myself.
The ape in the original Rampage video game is not white. He's not albino.
Okay, that's the only change they made.
There's an ape, like a giant werewolf, and like a lizard man.
Sorry, you speciesist.
Speciesist.
They whitewashed the ape in Rampage. Oh my god. God, you the most social justice warrior for a goddamn ape in a video game.
One of the most fun parts of the video game is when you eat, you break the building and then you eat the people.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Oh. All right.
Well, actually, one of the best parts of the freaking movie.
Is that right?
Yep.
All right.
You gotta watch. I'm telling you, gotta watch this movie. What's the rating on Rotten Tomatoes?
It has decent ratings. I'm not. It's 52%.
I told you,
I'm good for Rotten Tomatoes. The Metacritic score is actually 45, which means critics like this movie too.
Yeah, I'm not wrong. This movie was, again, remember when we first talked about this, when they first started talking about making it, and we had just started this podcast, and I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's how I went into that. And I went into it, again, as soon as I sit down and watch a movie, even if I have a what the fuck are we doing here, I kind of try to take a breath for 1 second and just give it a shot. I'm going to give you a shot because I don't want you to do bad. I don't want you to fail. Maybe. Depends. But it depends if I want to see somebody fired, Ryan Johnson. Kidding. But I don't like to see shit fail. So when I went to watch this, I was whatever. It was good. You guys gotta watch it. You have to watch it. All right, next. What's that? I see Paul's watching the clock.
I'm gonna try to watch it, but I think my cognitive dissonance is so bad that I'm gonna hate it. I'm just so convinced. We skipped one. If you want to do it real quick, the Warcraft movie.
I never saw it.
So you guys play Warcraft? It might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I played it. I didn't see it.
So the movie didn't have really much to do with the game. I mean, it's obviously the background is the same, but the movie is about an orc family, orc guy, I guess, with a family. Anyway, it did well, $433 million. It's probably one of the. That's actually number 2 of all video game movies, and the scores are good.
Right. So. I gotta check that one out.
It's like all CGI though. There's no real character.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. Try one of those.
And then I think the next one is the Pokemon movie, which only you have seen, or you both saw it.
I saw it.
We saw it. Yeah.
You both thought it was good.
Side note: there was one that I didn't realize they made a movie. They made a movie out of Wing Commander. Have you guys ever played this game?
I loved Wing Commander back in the day.
That. Yeah. That was one of the first games I played on PC. And
I forgot they made a movie about it.
Yeah. So it's pretty bad.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
it was like incredibly low budget, right? It was.
Yeah, it's super low budget, and it's.
I remember the game had Mark Hamill in it.
Did it really?
Number 3, Wing Commander 3.
Oh,
yeah.
Because I remember playing that one on PlayStation or whatever.
Freddie Prinze Jr. is in the movie. It's really not good.
Did Wing Commander spawn? Because one of my favorite. I'm tangenting now. One of my favorite games of all time is actually Privateer, which I think was spawned from Wing Commander.
You're really tangenting now.
Yeah, because nobody knows what
that
is. All right, never mind. And then we've got 6, right? 6 future movies coming up for game.
All right, so Pokemon. Let's start.
Let me do one before we get here that I haven't seen, but I may go back and watch because I really like this actor, and it's a pretty fun game. Hitman. Have you played Hitman?
Oh shit! I forgot about that.
Yeah,
I watched it. It was good.
Hitman is a really good game that you can do the sort of run and gun thing if you want to, but the contract calls you to do things in a certain way, and you won't get. It's harder to get caught if you sort of take your time and think about it, and you can just sort of walk in and shoot somebody in the face, kind of try to run out the door.
You can,
but it was one of the. I don't remember a ton of games being that way before Hitman came out. It was, think about this, do it, surreptitiously in the shadows.
Stop a second and think.
Right.
Before you just,
it was not just run straight forward and shoot.
Grab the ammo and go.
Yeah. And it did decently well as I'm looking at this list. Just under 100 million, 57% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
I think they had 2 movies. Or they were prepping a sequel.
And so this is the 2007 one with Tim Oliphant, he was in Justified, he was in Deadwood. He's a really good actor.
Yeah, I know. I recognized his face, but I couldn't remember, so I just seen him in magazines or whatever. Yeah. But I watched the movie. It was good. I liked it.
There was another one in 2015.
Yeah, I did not do anywhere near as well.
Yeah. Okay, that's one I did not watch. But the first one was good. So yeah, go ahead and go watch that one. On to side note before we get to Pikachu, because right before that one, again, I think we have one tangent that we can go off on, but we're not going to because we're running out of time. Is Paul shaking his head at me like, don't do it. Is when you make these movies, when you do the real actors versus like an animated one, you have a better chance of succeeding with animated because it's animation, so you kind of make it do what it wants. The Angry Birds movie.
Oh yeah,
because you have a sequel coming
out.
out.
About that.
You have a sequel coming out, and when they first announced this one, I was like right in there with, okay, well they did Lego movie, so really, okay, we're gonna do Angry Birds. Why? And I think it was funny as shit.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Have you seen the trailer for the second one?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't wait for this damn movie to come out. I was like, really? So you got me hooked on this fucking Angry Birds franchise. So that's that one. So then into Detective Pikachu. I've been talking a hell of a lot because it's all me on this damn thing. So it always is. Sorry, I run my mouth a lot.
No, it's fine. You're the one who brought all this together.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Thanks.
I think I really liked Detective Pikachu. My son loved it. And there's enough in there for grown-ups who are taking their kids, right? There's jokes thrown in for grown-ups. There was a minute or two where it gets a little intense for him, where he was like, can we go? I'm like, no, the movie's not even over yet. Like, we're not even close. And then he was fine. Really well done. I thought the Justice Smith is really good in it. But the whole thing is...
Did we figure out if that's Will Smith's kid?
We've not.
We never did.
Google that for a second.
Justice Smith, good. You keep talking.
Yeah, they're in a
Ryan
movie together.
Is he? Okay.
It's called. They're in a movie together called. It's a sci-fi movie.
It's not After Earth.
After Earth. Yeah.
Oh, is that him?
Is that him?
I thought it was his other kid.
Really?
I thought it was the one who's in Karate Kid.
Jaden Smith. Yeah.
Let me look it up then instead
of
saying that that's
we'll talk and you'll look up Justice Smith. Way to talk out of your ass. I got a daughter that does that. Thanks.
The whole thing is brought together with Ryan Reynolds being the voice of Pikachu. Like
it is.
It makes the whole movie for me.
Which when the trailer first came out, and I was like, when they first announced it, we talked about Detective Pikachu. Why, if you've got this entire universe, are you going to make Detective Pikachu? This is stupid. I walked into it saying that. And then the trailer came out. I heard Ryan Reynolds' voice. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
And dude, you need to. This thing should still be in theaters somewhere, right?
Yes, yeah.
Take the kids to go see it. It's so good. Have you figured out?
No relation.
Okay.
Justice Smith is no relation. Okay. Sorry.
Well, no. Thank God for him. I mean, no. Aladdin redeemed Will Smith in my eyes a little bit. I'm looking forward to Bad Boys 3.
He's really good in that movie. Justice Smith is really good in that movie, and Ryan Reynolds brings it together.
When you think Ryan Reynolds, right? All right, first thing you think Pikachu, and you're like, Ryan Reynolds, really? And then like the trailer kind of makes you laugh a little bit, right? We talked about it briefly before. Even the jokes that they do in the trailers, when they hit in the movies, sometimes like you see it in the movie and you're like, yeah, okay, I saw that trailer. When they hit in the movie, you're still like, you're laughing your ass off. Like that whole thing with the, can you guys understand him? And he's like, Pika Pika. And she's like, yeah, Pika Pika. That was fucking hilarious right there in the scene. The way they're setting it up and walking through the streets. Yeah. It's great. You got to watch it. And the whole, without giving a spoiler, the whole ending, the whole storyline, kind of like, wow, really?
Right.
Like for a Pokemon movie, it's got like a big, heavy storyline that you're like, wow, this was actually really cool. Yeah. So you got to go watch it. So there was that one. So now we got coming up. I lost my page here.
Well, we have the one we've already talked about, the Sonic movie, right? Which just with Rampage, I'm assuming it'll be awful shit, but especially after seeing the trailer.
Well, we talked about this, I think, last week, that there's a story out that so many people on the internet are mad about how Sonic looks in that trailer that they're changing him.
Which I pray to God they do. Because I swear to God, he really looks like a streaker at a baseball game. I'm sorry. He vaguely resembles the character from the video game. But,
the face, but yeah.
And then again, I personally think this is going to be a Jim Carrey vehicle.
For sure.
Just for him to do his dumb shit.
Yeah.
Whatever. So didn't you stay gone? Apparently, you did not stay gone long enough. Put him back under the rock he was under. But yeah, so fix the fucking hedgehog, please, and then maybe it'll be tolerable. There's another one on my list
I'm
here.
still not seeing it.
Yeah, no. It's not, well, my son, for whatever reason, loves Sonic. He's never played a Sonic video game, but something to do with whatever he's seen online, and then Sonic versus Mario on whatever, and then he's on Super Smash Brothers. He loves Sonic. I think I'm going to be forced to see this damn movie. I will be immediately on this microphone. It might not even be a Tuesday. You guys might not be here. I'm just going to be like randomly posting shit because I'm going to be crying. So we got on this list here anyway on Tom's guide. I don't know who the fuck Tom is. Apparently he stopped making MySpace and now he's here. He's got Monster Hunter. I vaguely recall that game. I don't. Cool, whatever. One that piques my interest. Wow, there you go. Gears of War.
Oh.
Which would be on my short list of what we talked about earlier. Yep. If you're going to take a game, or if you could take a game and make a movie, Gears of War, that whole series, is so well made and you don't have to even go remotely away from the source material. Take that damn game and just make them, find some guys and spin off for a second show on video game movies. These upcoming ones that they've talked about, we'll find out. We'll do a little bit of research and find out how far along they are, and then much like we do with Batman or whatever else, let's cast them.
Oh yeah,
dude, Gears of War. I would love this. Have you ever seen this game or played it?
Yeah, I played it.
Okay, yeah,
that's great.
So, Marcus Phoenix, dude, please give me this game in a movie all day long. I'm getting ready to. I'm waiting for Noah to get a little bit older before I play it with him, but I want him to play it because it's cool. Uncharted is the next one on that list. I guess, they talked about that one a lot, though. That whole Nathan Drake thing. You guys seen that one?
No.
I've never played it, but it's kind of like a Raiders kind of thing. Okay. You know, he's not archaeologist, but he's in that realm, like, you know, treasure hunter kind of whatever, you know. So something like that. Metal Gear Solid. Okay, you know, I would say anything with the Metal Gear franchise you can give me. I would throw in the Call of Duty. I haven't gone all the way through this yet, but Call of Duty, but then you can just make a war movie.
I was going to say Call of Duty. You're just making a war movie.
Yeah, you can make a war movie. One of the games they did was kind of which was cool, and you can do a movie like this. They did where it was like Modern Warfare, but then they kept going back to the Vietnam era because the dude was a soldier and his father was killed in action or some shit like that, and he kept talking to one of his father's old brothers in arms.
Right.
And so you would play the father in a flashback sequence, and then you would play the son in the modern day. You can kind of play off of that, do something like that, because it was kind of a cool storyline. I forget how it ended or if I even ended it myself, but it was a good storyline. So you can kind of do that. But yeah, you wind up with a whole movie. Minecraft the movie.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that one.
Well, you know what? Lego, Pikachu.
I guess.
I mean, it could be about anything, I suppose.
They have a story mode.
Oh, the Minecraft story mode.
Apparently, yeah. Like Patton Oswalt is like a voice actor in that one.
Is it based on that?
I don't know.
I mean, they could do anything they want.
Yeah, they
kids movie. Sure.
I'm sure they said when they were coming out with a Lego movie, they're like, "How are you going to make a Lego movie?"
Yeah, well, Lego was so popular they came out with emojis.
Right.
Oh my God. But then they're getting ready to do Playmobil.
Yeah.
Yay. I guess maybe. The Last of Us. Okay, I have not played this game. I've been dying to play this game. It's kind of a Black Summer-esque, like end of the world kind of zombie-ish, whatever.
Yeah. People
look diseased in this game. I don't know. My brother-in-law was playing it one time when we were hanging out, and it looked amazing. The graphics are like ridiculously good in this game, and I know there's two of them. I want to see this. Again, you're going to do a zombie movie, but maybe a la Resident Evil, stick a little bit more to the source material here because they've got it looks dark and like you're just done.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like you're scrambling for every little thing you got in this thing. So I think that would make a good movie. How about you?
No, I'm good. I got them all. Well, there's another Mortal Kombat that's being remade for 2021. It's being
good.
It's being produced by James Wan.
Oh, all right, wait, no. Hey, you did Aquaman.
Yeah.
And a couple other things I like.
But the director is brand new. It'll be his first movie.
All right, well, we got then these other ones, The Division, Firewatch. I don't recognize any of this shit. So, yeah. So, outside of The Last of Us and Gears of War, I would love to see those two movies made. And then, yeah, Minecraft, make it funny.
Yeah.
Make it, whatever. I don't know. If you make it like a spoof kind of thing, let's go. Halo.
Have you ever played Fallout? Any of the Fallout games?
Yeah.
No, but I've seen it.
Fallout.
I love Fallout. Like that's all of those games are really good. There's been I haven't played this most recent one, and I know there's been some stuff online about
76. I haven't played 76
the bugs
either yet.
and stuff that's in it. But you could make a really good movie out of any of those Fallout games.
I have Fallout 4 on Steam, so it logs my hours. I have like over 1,200 hours.
Oh yeah, I love that game.
Wow.
Fallout 4 and then Fallout New Vegas.
Yeah.
Those are really.
I've never played that one, so I guess I gotta go back. Thanks.
Fallout is
Thanks.
incredible. And it has a great story. It has great stories, actually. Because there's multiple different like branches of things that go on. Yeah. It's really cool, man.
What about
and the whole theme? It's like they took like Cold War era time, and what if it happened a little different?
Yeah.
Right. What about a Grand Theft Auto? Now, outside of like some of the really dumb shit they do in there, but if you just kind of like took that concept out of any one of those games and you can kind of like gel them all together,
it's like Miami Vice meets Sopranos. Or something.
Yeah.
Like you're sort of a decent movie out of that. Yeah, but you're sort of making a gangster, criminal sort of movie.
But you're making them. Yeah, you make them.
And again, you're talking about what gets what gets people going in that game. It's going off the rails and doing ridiculous shit and killing people for no reason. Right. And can you make that into a movie?
What if you made it into a Netflix series?
There you go.
You can kind of like an 8 to 10 episode, whatever, and then see how it goes. Kind of, you can even have like one tangent where like one character goes off on that.
Yeah.
And maybe he gets catch or whatever, But yeah, you can do that.
Yeah.
The only other one I was thinking of, and you guys can throw in anything else, would be either like Dragon Quest or Dragon Warrior or Final Fantasy, like the old RPG games.
Yeah.
Because they tried it with like the Dungeons and Dragons kind of shit.
Well, they did do that Final Fantasy one. There was a Final Fantasy animated,
right? Yeah. But I mean like the old, the first ones where like you've got like swords and sorcery. Yeah. Where it wasn't none of the because as they got later, you got like one guy's got a gun arm or whatever, and it's fine, it's cool. But if you go back to the originals with Dragon Warrior, had like one person. If you got into like the second or third one, they had multiple characters you had at one time. Take that. Or like that game Seago that I was telling you guys about, that Japanese one that was on PlayStation. It was like 108 characters you could get. That kind of shit. Take some of those old RPGs or the Japanese role-playing games, the JRPGs, make that to a movie. You can make a series of movies out of that show. It'd be great. Anybody else?
Legends of Zelda.
Oh shit! Please, can we do that? Yeah. Anything better than that that cartoon series they had?
Yeah.
Where he was like, "Come on, princess." Fucking asshole! Thanks for bringing that back in my head. But yeah, that would be a really good one.
Yeah, great stories in that too. A bunch of them.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Take Breath of the Wild and just make it into a movie.
Right.
Ooh, Twisted Metal.
Oh, Twisted Metal.
Wasn't that essentially like a
They
destruction
did a movie
race?
Yeah.
They did some kind of movie,
but it was
sort
kind
of like that. It
Mortal
wasn't based
Kombat
on the
with
game,
vehicles.
but it's a movie like that with a bunch of random car.
It was basically like Mad Max. It was kind of like but it's like it's Mortal Kombat, but just with vehicles. Yeah. It's like you would win this contest and get whatever you wanted or whatever. But I don't know, it's kind of cool. But yeah, all right. So there you go. Give me an RPG or something. Role-playing game, not rocket propelled. But anyway, I need one of those for this show. We're running too long. All right, I think that's about it. Guys, hit us up. Let us know what you guys think about video game movies. What were your favorites? Which ones really shit the bed?
What do you want to see made into a game?
Yeah. What
do you made into a movie?
Yeah, which ones do you want to see made into a movie? You know what? Movies made into a game. That'll be next week. Because, oh my God, there are some bad ones.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, licensing? Yeah, we can get into that. So we'll do that next week. Hit us up at whatifgeeks@gmail.com. Twitter, Facebooks.
Hit us up on all the Facebooks.
And Instagram. All right, that's it, guys. Good night, Tony.
Good night, Mom.